For a long time, I knew that something was off. I kept repeating patterns that didn't make sense, and no amount of self-awareness seemed to fix it. I didn't know what real shadow work was back then. I just knew that something was getting in my way. This simple analogy is the first thing that helped me understand why, and knowing why changed my life. I was just talking to someone the other day about group chats, and she said, "Oh my God, group chats are horrible." And I get it. I've experienced the horror of group chats myself. So it shouldn't be much of a stretch for you to imagine with me that you are part of several group chats. So there's usually a family chat. There's usually a chat with a wider circle of friends, maybe people that you've taken a class with, or you work with, or you might have seen them from time to time. And then there's the chat with close friends. And now you already know this, but you don't talk the same in all the chats. You just don't. With family, maybe you keep certain opinions to yourself. With the wider group, you probably reread certain messages before you send them. Maybe you soften it, you edit it, or don't send it at all and send something safer. With close friends, you might just say exactly what you're thinking. But either way, you don't sit there and consciously think about how you're editing yourself. You just do it. You just automatically adjust. That's normal. Everyone does, right? But now I want you to go one layer deeper. Think about the messages that you type and then delete, or the messages that you write, stare at, and then say nope. Or the thing you almost say, and then you rewrite it 3 times until it's more acceptable. Why do we do this? It's usually because at some point you've learned that the real you isn't acceptable in certain spaces. So instead of expressing yourself, you manage yourself. You adjust, you edit, you keep things smooth. And I know some of you are thinking about that exact chat where you would never say how you really feel. And you already know that chat where you can say whatever you want. And that difference should say something big to you. Have you ever accidentally crossed chats or thought that you did? Let me ask, did you panic? Did your heart almost stop? Don't tell me it didn't happen. I've been there. One time I thought I sent a personal text, one that was my truth, and instead I sent it to a simultaneous group chat that was happening. Well, let's just say the truth finally came out, but I had built up such a mask that my truth was horrifying to someone in that group chat. So did I decide to never modify myself again so that I'd never have to worry about crossing chats? No, I just became more careful with my truth. Yikes. So those unsent messages matter more than you think. They're usually the most honest part of yourself. Yes, they might be the unpopular truth at times. Maybe they look like that confidence that if you showed it, people might think, oh, she's arrogant. It might be that message that you downplay because you don't want to be judged. And again, this self-editing isn't something that you do once in a while. Most people do it all day long, socially and emotionally, without even realizing it. And adaptation is useful until it's not. And you'll know when it's not. You will hit that wall. You will have the dark night of the soul. And I know what you're thinking right now. But Janice, there are things that you just don't say. It's not worth it. It doesn't matter. People can't handle it. It's better to edit myself because people get offended. But I'm here to say that that is your ego making excuses to keep you safe. Why isn't it okay if people take things wrong? If that happens, then what? It will change you in some way. It changes who you are because someone else has a problem with it. Logically, you know the answer is no, but your ego isn't operating under what makes sense. Because while we're all adults here, we've already removed over time what people don't like. We've removed unacceptable parts of ourselves when it didn't please our parents growing up. And now we just continue that. And since you live your whole life constantly filtering what you want to express, you start to develop this public version of yourself that is based on what tends to be accepted. This is the masked version of you. This is what Carl Jung called the persona. So at the same time that you're showing this masked self, you develop this whole private backlog of reactions and truths that never make it out. And this is your shadow. So you end up with two forces inside of you. One that's trying to keep you accepted, that's your ego. And the other force is the one that deeply wants to be real. And that's the self, the whole you. The ego is the part of you that tries to balance the persona with the shadow in order to make everybody happy. The messages that you carefully curate in the family chat or in the wider circle chat are sent from your persona. And over time, the ego starts to favor this masked version of yourself. And that comes from the fact that a huge portion of you has been trained into silence. You may think, well, if I can just have enough self-love, then I'll be authentic. Or if I just stay positive, then I'll attract positivity to me. I'm sorry, but it sounds nice. And absolutely, it's a great thing to love yourself and to experience positivity. But suppressing the shadow's ability to practice and experience and grow by shoving it down so that you can just be positive isn't going to result in you feeling whole. So I know that you know that a lot of what you call your personality changes depending on what room you're in. A lot of the stuff that feels uncomfortable when you're in a group setting has more to do with the parts of you that rarely get expressed. Once you're able to see your life as one big group chat, you can see clearly what you've done to yourself. For me, I realized that when things went wrong in my life, times when I was ousted or alienated in a group setting, it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just that someone or many in that group didn't like a trait about me. And that's all it meant. Someone in a group chat once called me a dictator. Yes, I'm laughing about it now. I mean, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but one person thought I was, and that's literally all it meant. One person thought I was a dictator. I want to encourage you to let your shadow practice so that it can integrate and become an actual strength. Give yourself grace to know that it will feel uncomfortable. Know that not everybody is going to like it. But remind yourself, if someone doesn't like it, that's all it means. Just do one simple exercise. Don't edit a message that you send in a group chat. Take it slow, but it's important that you do it. And when you've done it, put a comment down below and tell me how it felt. Let's celebrate your shadow together. Once again, thanks for dreaming with me. May your nights be rich with guidance and your mornings full of clarity.